welcome to the webinar, Get a Rockin' Body for Summertime. Please feel free that while we're waiting for another minute or so, just go on Twitter and at Rachel Joy Olson, post your health and fitness goals that you would like to accomplish for this summer. All right, it looks like we've got it here. So thank you so much for everybody to joining the call today. If you can feel free to just listen in and we'll answer questions. I'll answer any questions that you might have at the end of the webinar today. And in the meantime, I'd mentioned this earlier before a couple of you came on here, is that if you want to, post your #1 health and fitness goal to Twitter and tag at Rachel Joy Olson and hashtag Rockin' Body if you do have a Twitter account. For those of you who don't have a Twitter account, feel free to post on a post on Facebook on the page. You can post a question that you might have that you might want me to answer a little bit later on. We could do that as well. So I just want to start by welcome you all to the webinar. I know all of you have busy lives, and I congratulate you for taking this time today to take a little break and do something for yourself. So before we dive into the information today, I want you to think of one thing that you did for yourself today. And if you want to, again, you can feel free to post that on Twitter. You can post that on the Facebook page. Just think about one thing that you did for yourself today. It doesn't matter what it is. Just what did you take the time to do for yourself today? This is going to be something good for you to just keep in the back of your mind as we go along on this webinar tonight. So we're going to talk about, first of all, we're going to talk about the agenda for tonight is I'm just going to tell you a little bit about who I am. We're going to discuss why most people struggle to release weight and reach their goals. And we're going to chat about 5 things you can do now to get a rockin' body and keep it off. And then I'll finish up with some easy and exciting solutions for you. So first of all, who am I? Well, for those of you, I think most of you on there already do know who I am, but for those of you who are not on, for those of you who are not have never met me and don't really know who I am just yet, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Well, first of all, I am a holistic lifestyle coach, the author of The Magic of Living Nutrition, which is a lifestyle book and a cookbook all rolled into one. It has been it's been a great resource for many, many people, and I'm proud to say that it has been. And I've even had people say that it is the most used book in the house. So that's a pretty fun thing to hear. So I specialize mostly in helping people get fitter, move their bodies, and also I specialize mostly in plant-based nutrition. So for those individuals who are interested in making the transition to plant-based, that is one of my biggest passions. So I also help people do that as well. So I've got many years in the health and fitness industry. I have been in the health and fitness industry for about 18 years. I started by taking a kinesiology degree with a major in sports psychology because I just love learning about the body and mind connection. And as a holistic lifestyle coach, that is something I really work on. I look at the body, mind, and soul of a person and really help people connect to themselves from all 3 aspects, or like I like to call the triad of a person. So over my many years of working with clients and, of course, going through my own journey, I'm realizing more and more that the mind is the most powerful tool that we have. And we can create anything in our lives when we can take control of the mind. I'll apologize. You might hear my dog in the background. She's has to say her piece every once in a while. For most of my career, and still do, I've worked in various gyms throughout the years as a trainer. I love making people sweat. I love teaching them about proper nutrition and of how the body, how when we move our body and work our body out, when we sweat it out, when we build muscle mass, how important nutrition actually fits into that. Because when we are working out, or for those of you who are more active, you're really going to want to have the nutrition component as well. I worked with Alberta Health Services for many years in a chronic disease management program. So I helped many individuals take care and take charge of their chronic condition by using healthy lifestyle therapies. So I also completed a raw vegan chef nutrition certification, and of course many other certifications, including a weight management specialty. So I've had a lot of fun and a lot of experience in the realm of health and fitness, and it's definitely one of my passions. So I'm super excited to be here with all of you tonight to share my passion and hopefully help you in some way. We're going to go through some really great tips and tricks that I have for you guys that you can take home and start doing right away. So I've been there and I've done that. I've been there in your shoes. I've gone through many years of hating my body, hating what I see in the mirror. I have been on every single diet I think I can imagine. I have starved myself. I have beat my body up in the gym. I've done a lot. However, change only happens when we take action. There's been many times where I haven't wanted to take action. And when I do that, I realize quickly that, when action isn't taken, results just don't happen. And that's just the reality of it. So at one point, the pain of sitting where I was worse than actually making the change. So I want you to ask yourself, what is the pain of staying where you are right now? When you say no to having an unhealthy body or not accomplishing your goals, what else are you saying yes to? Are you saying yes to long-term health problems, poor quality of life? And one thing that I was taught by one of my really great coaches was that when we're saying yes to something, we're saying no to something else, and vice versa. When we're saying no to something, to one thing, we're also saying yes to something else. So I think it's really important to realize, what are we saying yes to? So for example, if we're saying yes to potato chips and sitting on the couch every day, we're saying no to a bikini body. So what do you really want? And again, we're going to go through a little bit about that in a little bit, but so I'm going to talk to you today about how really easy it can be, and the key really is are you ready to take action? So how many of you have heard that we've got a massive health crisis on our hands? I mean, it is really running rampant, and most people don't even realize that they're at risk, or the people around them are at risk, because we're so used to such an overweight and obese society today that it's really, it's becoming the norm. But studies are showing that over 65% of people in North America are overweight or obese, with 35% of them being obese. And as you can see on the slide here, there are so many negative effects of obesity that, from cancer to joint problems to lower life expectancy, high cholesterol, limited mobility, social discrimination. That's been a big one. I had a client once when I asked him, why do you want to lose the weight? And he said, so that I can actually be taken more seriously in my work. And a lot of people don't think about that, but it's kind of a reality of it. And, besides the social discrimination that happens, to me, more importantly, would be the life expectancy and, of course, the quality of life. Because I don't know about you guys, but I really want to have fun while I'm here, right? And feeling great. So why is this happening? Well, the unfortunate part about it is big business and government have a strong hold on our food, and they often tell us what's healthy and what's not. So I hear clients tell me all the time that they know how to eat healthy, but yet when I go through with them what a typical day looks like, I'm astonished at what people are thinking is healthy, right? And it's because really things like the Canada Food Guide are out there for us to follow, but how many of us really actually understand it, number one? And number two, when we see something that, carbohydrates, for example, is processed foods, how good is that really for us, right? I love the little cartoon in this slide that, and that's actually reality of the fruits and vegetables. A lot of even the produce that we're getting, they're wearing hazmat masks to spray these crops. I mean, if we can't spray a crop or be in a crop without a hazmat mask on, how good is it for us to eat it? Are you ready to get a rocking body for the summer? So I'm assuming most of you are, otherwise you wouldn't even be here on this webinar this evening. But so let's get started. So the number one, so we're going to go through 5 different steps and different ways that you can get the body that you really like. And I am using the term get a rockin' body, but keep in mind, we've got a mind, body, soul connection. And when one part of that triad is healthy, everything else will fall into place. So we're only as healthy, or we're only as strong as our weakest link. So if our body is unhealthy, our mind will be unhealthy, and then of course our soul connection will be unhealthy as well. So the first thing I want to start with is, what is your why? Because the first and foremost, the most important part of any sort of health awareness program is, why do you want to do it? Do you have a special occasion coming up? Are you doing it for someone else? Are you doing it for yourself? Do you want to look good? Do you want to feel great? Do you want to look good and feel sexy in your clothes again? Do you want to gain some strength just to be able to play with your kids or your grandkids? Do you want to prevent some sort of chronic condition? Do you want to manage a chronic condition? So this is a very personal thing that everybody, especially that I work with, is extremely individual. Not everybody is going to have the same why. So one of the biggest things is that change only happens when your why is strong enough. So what is your why? Think about that just for a minute. And when we're thinking about our why, what is it that's going to keep you focused? So temptations are going to come up in our life. Absolutely. There's going to be nights where there's food and drinks around that you really want to stay away from. When it gets really hard, maybe you're stressed, maybe you're tired. So your why needs to be strong enough to actually overcome those things that are tempting you, or when things get hard. So your why needs to be what will keep you focused during those hard times. So as an example, I used to get people, as I mentioned before, I decided to embrace a plant-based lifestyle about 7 years ago. And when I first initially went that way, I got a lot of slack from people saying, what do you want to be vegan for? That's unhealthy. It's wrong. And at first, when I started making the transition, my why just wasn't strong enough. So I started thinking, well, man, maybe they're right. And then I would have a little piece of meat again and go, oh, but I just don't feel good about this. And it wasn't until my why became extremely strong, then I could say, nah, no, I'm good. Nothing even tempts me anymore because my why is that strong. So you need to get to the point where your why is so strong that the temptations don't even faze you anymore. So think about that. If there's a temptation out there that's still kind of making it hard to make the decision that you want to make, maybe you just need to adjust your why a little bit. It really, really will help. So the number 2 thing that we're going to focus on tonight is set a goal and plan. So we've probably all heard of the SMART goals. So I want you to first start by thinking about what you want and, of course, why you want it according to the first step that we took. Set a goal and then figure out some steps to get there. So this is often the reason why most people fail when they start a diet and exercise program, or just starting to live a little bit healthier. They have no idea even how much they want to lose. They have no idea where they want to go. So thinking about where do you want to go? You might look at a 12-month plan, a 6-month plan, a 6-week plan. So just kind of personally think about what it is that you want and where might you like to go. Now, when you're setting that goal, we want to make our goals SMART. I know we've all heard this before, but this is just a really great way to make sure that it's really another way of saying, make your goals clear. When you've got a really clear vision as to where you want to go in alignment with a strong why, you're apt to be a lot more successful. So starting with specific, you want your first goal to be very specific. If it's too vague, again, it's not something that's going to keep you on track and you're not really going to know where to go. So some clients I sit down and say, well, I want to lose weight. Well, what does that mean? How much do you want to lose? How do you want to lose it? Do you want to be active? Do you want to be, do you want to have more body fat? Do you want to have less muscle mass? I mean, everybody's so different, right? Weight can be a very interesting goal. It could be, I want to make sure that I walk 3 times a week. So whatever it happens to be, make it really specific. Next is measurable, and we're going to talk about some of the measurable things here in just a few slides from now. Some of the things that you can measure are where you're starting right now in your body, where is your mindset, where are you starting, what's your starting point, and then what are some measurable stepping stones or milestones that you can actually check in at along the way to make sure that you're still on track. The third one is your goal attainable? Is it something that's even possible for you? If you've always had knee problems or you've had a knee replacement and you want to run a 100K run, might not even be attainable, right? If you want to lose 20 pounds in a week, is that going to be attainable? Likely not. So think about, is this the goal that you're setting even attainable for you? So you want your goal to be challenging enough that's going to keep you motivated, but not too easy that it'd be like, oh, I can easily accomplish that, but not so hard that you're never going to make it there. So think about, is it attainable? And is it relevant? Is it relevant to what your really long-term goal is? So say, for example, if somebody wants to, say, run a marathon, would setting a goal of biking 5 kilometers a day be relevant to their training? Probably not. So think about, is it relevant to what you even want in your life? And then, of course, time. Set a time to it. So give yourself like a deadline. So whether we're talking health and fitness, whether we're talking business, it's a really good idea to have some sort of timeline. And again, where you can kind of check in and just make sure you're on the right track. I know that with even the coaches that I work with, they always have, my particular coach I'm working with now has me writing down, what am I doing on a weekly basis? If I say, for example, want my next books to be done, I need to have some sort of deadlines and some goals as to how those books are actually going to get done. If it's a health and wellness program, I need to know what my program is. What am I doing when I'm getting to the gym? If in a month, I have a goal of, maybe how much weight I want to be able to lift, or, what size I want to be in my clothes. So something timed really helps keep you on track as well. And part of this understanding your goal is think about how you want to feel. So when you're setting your goals, bring in the feelings and emotions to it. So when we feel really strongly about something, again, we're more likely to take action. If, what you want doesn't really elicit any emotion or any response in you, you're likely not going to be as motivated to accomplish that goal. So really bring in your thoughts and feelings. So I want you just to take a minute just to jot down at least one health and fitness goal you want to accomplish. And then beside that goal, write down why you want it. And then beside that, you're going to write down, how will you feel when you accomplish that goal? Like Mahatma Gandhi said, what will you think, you become. So if we're constantly looking in the mirror, hating what we see, what are we going to get? We're going to get more of what we hate to see. But if we're really thinking about our goal and we're really eliciting positive emotions and positive thoughts around our goal, that's what we're going to attract, and that's what we're going to manifest. So also another question to ask yourself is, how will you feel if you don't accomplish that goal? What is the pain of not accomplishing that goal? And the reason why I love this question is because, there does become a point where action occurs when the pain of staying where you are becomes more than taking action to change it. So think about that just for a few minutes for yourself. Number 3, what you'll want to do is think about, where are you starting? Begin with the end in mind, yes. Where's your goal? Yes. But where are you starting, and how far away are you from that goal? So when I work with my clients, the first thing we do is discover where they are now in relation to where they want to go. Once we've determined a few key elements of where they are, then we can come up with a really great action strategy, an action plan, an individualized action plan to get where they want to go. Because everyone is so different. Everyone is starting at a different starting line. So why do we compare to others? You want to make sure that you're looking at your starting line. Where are you starting? And then, of course, go from there. So in accordance to health and wellness, where are you starting? What are some of the things that I would do with my clients, or what are some of the things that you can do today to determine where are you starting with your health and wellness goals? Well, some of the things you can do are some baseline measurements. The first thing that I usually do with my clients is some sort of cardiovascular or muscular test. This could be as simple as doing a 1-minute push-up test. How many push-ups could you do in 1 minute? Or it could be a walk test. There's some different kind of walk tests or cardio tests that I might do, but if you're doing it for yourself, think about how many times can you step up and step down from a step in your house, and time that, maybe over 3 minutes or something, and see how you feel. Another measurement that you can take is body fat, and body fat can be measured quite easily by stepping on it's called one of the scales. There's a body fat scale, usually in any of the gyms that you find. Some home scales have it now, and it's called bioelectrical impedance. You can check your body fat that way, because essentially, and you'll notice that I don't have weight on here. And the reason why I don't really like to focus on weight is because as you get more active, you likely can go up on the scale, and that's where body fat and excess body fat on our body is what's causing the problems, not necessarily our weight as a total, because muscle weighs a lot more than fat does. The third one on there is BMI. That's your body mass index. There's a lot of BMI scales out there, and this is just a recommendation of where we should be according to our height and weight. Now, these scales, of course, are just a general measurement, because if you are a very dense person, if you've got really thick bones, for example, like I do, you're going to weigh in or come in a little bit heavier on that scale. So it's kind of something just to take with a grain of salt. But my favorite ones are the girth measurements. So this is just something you can easily do at home with a tape measure. I recommend doing this once a month just to stay on track of things. It's a good baseline, and it's also a good measurement that you can use when you're reaching your goal. So waist girth there's about 3 different sites that you can test for ultimate health. And number 1 is waist. So your waist would be the smallest portion at your hips. Sorry, the smallest portion of your waist. So if you look at your torso, what's the smallest part of your torso? That would be considered your waist. Your abdominal region is considered a measurement just below the belly button. I know that when I work with a lot of women, it's that area that many of us want to get rid of. So just below the belly button. The hips is right around the largest part of your glutes, okay? So right around the hips, right around your butt is the largest part. Now, the reason why the waist and the hips are a really important measurement is because the waist to hip ratio is what is used nowadays often to determine risk of cardiac disease. So if you've got a really large waist to hip ratio, you're actually at more risk. So you want that hip to waist ratio to be lower. So you want your waist to be smaller than your hips. And that ratio is a little bit on the healthier side. So, and girth for men, you want to be below 40 inches around the waist. And for women, the recommended is below 35 inches. So those are just some baseline measures that you can do right at your house, right in your own home to get you started. Another thing is, another baseline measurement to take is really considering what is your mindset. And this is really one of the most important baseline measures I think that you can take, because this one will make you or break you. Or, what I want you to do is just kind of check in with, what are your thoughts telling you? Are your thoughts positive or negative? Are you holding back because you've got fears, maybe some past fears? I know a lot of people come to me and say, well, I failed in the past, so how is this going to be any different? And, certainly that kind of mindset is really going to be difficult to break through. So in order to be successful, we all need to have a positive mindset. I know, and I can tell you from experience, it's not always the easiest to have a positive mindset, but think about this, do you think that you can, or do you think that you can't? And there's kind of that old saying that if you think you can or you can't, both of them are right. In essence, that if you think you can do it, you're likely going to be able to do whatever it is that you think you can do. But if you think you can't do it, chances are it won't be accomplished. And then what are your limiting beliefs? What are the things that are holding you back? Because you might have a belief about it. Just like I mentioned before, well, I failed before, so how is this any different, right? Or, my parents always, told me I couldn't do something, so I believe that I can't. So really tap in and see what is your mindset. What's happening with you right now? So moving on to number 4, the number 4 way of how to get a rockin' body for the summer is absolutely eat right. So now that you've got your measurements done, you know why you want to do something, you've got your goal figured out, now it's time to take some action. And number 1, most important, is eating right. Now you might say, well, what does that mean? So if you look on the screen here, every single one of these foods, you'll notice how colorful they are, and you'll notice how natural they are. So the one thing I have on the bottom right there is complex versus simple carbs. And what I'm showing on the simple carbohydrates there is a lot of the processed foods are simple carbohydrates. And the simple carbohydrates are the ones that we want to stay away from as much as possible, because we want to ensure that we are keeping our blood sugar at a nice steady pace. So the complex carbohydrates are the ones that are full of fiber, that are going to keep you fuller and longer. So where are people getting their education, their nutrition education today? A lot of it is through advertisements on TV, such as the Got Milk commercial. I love how they use Wolverine. Wolverine, you know, obviously is not getting strong steel bones or structure from milk. But it makes people think that if they drink milk, they're going to be a superhero. And, you know, unfortunately, that's just not true. And it's one thing that I'm going to be talking about in webinars coming up is actually that. I mean, we're often told that milk and things like that are really good for us, but they're not. So stay tuned for some of that information. If you want more information, certainly connect with me and I can send that to you. Different things like lean cuisines. We're told that these, you know, lean microwave foods are healthy for us, and they're just really not. They're not providing us with enough nutritional value. And again, we're popping things in the microwave that the microwaves just kill everything that's even left. If there was any nutrition left in there, it's all gone after the microwave. And then of course there's the Gatorade. It's full of food coloring, full of sugar, full of preservatives that, you know, athletes are using things like these power drinks, and there's just no nutritional value in there whatsoever. Where, you know, what I usually do with my athletes is put them on some whole food supplementation, and, you know, they notice amazing recovery after actually feeding their body with whole food nutrition. And then of course, just because something has the health check symbol on it doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy for you. So we're going to go through some of the things here as far as our food goes. And what we want to make sure is we're getting macronutrients. So the macronutrients are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So the proteins are best coming from plant-based sources. Obviously, I'm going to be a little bit biased on that, but the plant-based sources are by far the best. You want to make sure that you're getting enough protein through dark leafy greens, through beans, lentils, things like that will give you lots of high protein. I did a presentation just the other day, and people were asking about soy. And, you know, soy, we want to make sure we're kind of stop being scared of soy, because soy is a bean, and it's a complete plant-based protein. And as long as it's actually non-GMO and organic, it's absolutely safe and essential and extremely healthy for anyone's diet. And then you've got the carbohydrates. So things such as yams, sweet potatoes, brown rice, quinoa, different things like that. Those are your complex carbohydrates. And complex carbohydrates are full of fiber. They're going to keep you fuller longer. They're going to provide the body with the energy that it needs and keep the blood sugar low. And then the third macronutrient is our fat. So we want to make sure we're getting healthy fats when we're doing the fats. So I'm just going to check in with everybody here. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, perfect. Excellent. Okay, moving on to micronutrients. So micronutrients is what I like to consider the oil in the car. So the macronutrients are like the gas in the car. You're going to be able to run your car for quite some time, but at some point, without enough macronutrients, your car is just going to stop. Your micronutrients are like the oil in the car. They go along with the gas in the car, And you could probably run with no oil for a little while, but eventually your motor is just going to seize up. So your micronutrients include your vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. So the vitamins, of course, we can found in our whole food nutrition. Antioxidants, you'll notice in that picture, are just full of color. They're what keep away the free radicals and oxidants in our body. So oxidants are, say, for example, if you cut an apple in half, over time, if it's not a genetically modified apple, of course, if it's an organically grown apple, it will start to go brown. And what's happening there is the free radicals from the oxygen in the air are breaking down the cellular tissue. And the cellular tissue gets broken down and ages and eventually kills that cells and the apple. So the same thing happens in our bodies, that the more antioxidants we have, the longer we will live, the more energy we'll have, and the better we'll look and we'll feel. And then on the bottom right hand there is our minerals. So we do definitely still need to have some essential minerals that we get from the earth, right? So we are all made up of minerals. The earth is made up of minerals, and yet we think we're going to get minerals from synthetic sources. So it's really important to get minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants from the earth that's actually feeding that food with those essential nutrients. So there's 4 basic kind of rules or guidelines to follow when you're thinking about feeding your body in a healthy way. Is number 1, listen to your body. The best thing we can do is eat when you're hungry and stop when you're satisfied. And this is not the easiest thing to do often. It can be extremely difficult for people, but think about when you're hungry. Your stomach will growl, you might have low energy. That would be a really good sign of hunger. Oftentimes, though, we can feel hungry when we're thirsty. So a big drink of water will just take care of that. Often we can feel hungry when we're tired. So you might want to check in, and did you get a full 7 to 8 hours sleep that night, or are you running on 4 or 5? So just kind of check in and say, am I really hungry here? And then when you are eating, for so many years when I grew up, we, at family dinners and special occasions, we'd be rolling ourselves away from the table. And that's definitely overdoing it. And what overstuffing your body does is it puts a lot of strain and pressure on the digestive tract. So really stopping when you're about 80% full, or just slowing down and checking in. Am I starting to feel full yet? Maybe I can just save that for later. So sometimes, I used to always think too, that if it's on my plate, I got to finish it. I kind of was brought up that way, that you got to finish what you take. And, and that's kind of been a bad habit that has stuck with me my entire life. But, a friend of mine actually put it to me once, and I said, "You're not going to finish that?" He's like, "No, I'm going to save it for later." And I said, "Oh." And, and he kind of made it a good point, going, "You're full now, right?" "Yes." And he's like, "Think how good this is going to taste later when you're actually hungry. You're going to be thankful that you had it." So I've kind of been thinking about that ever since, going, yeah, you're right. And then later on, when I go back and I'm really hungry, I'm really thankful that I had that little snack. So that's something that you might be able to try. Eat small meals every 3 to 4 hours. This works for some, doesn't work for others, but our digestive tract works the best when we eat small meals as opposed to really large meals. Kind of the rule of thumb is we shouldn't be eating really much more food at a time than our fist. And think how little amount that is. Because when we go to a restaurant or even at home, we're eating off sometimes platters. And when kind of the recommended at a time is just no more than, maybe a fistful or 2 fistfuls at max, we're all overeating. So just make the meals a little bit smaller and eat at more intervals throughout the day. And of course, make every bite count. So really be mindful of your eating. And I know so many of us are kind of on the grab and go system where we just grab something, we go because we're running from one thing to the next. But if you can really stop and just taste every single bite that you eat, your body is going to be more satisfied, you're going to be more satisfied, and you're going to be less likely to overeat, which will then keep you on track to your health and fitness goals. And the last and not least, of course, one that we're going to talk about tonight is exercise. Now, of course, this is everybody's favorite, right? I know how much everybody loves to exercise. So exercising is not always the easiest for people to do, but the best thing that we can do is just get up and do something, even if it's just a walk, maybe it's a march on the spot, whatever it happens to be, is just get out there and move. So our bodies were designed to move. The worst thing we can do is sit still, which is what most people are doing nowadays. It's saying that, I heard this the other day, that sitting in a cubicle is not much different than the millions of poor animals in small cages remaining still and fattening up for people to eat. And I thought that was pretty funny, is that, when we're remaining still, we're really just fattening up, right? And think of that. Think of what happens when water sits stagnant. It gets moldy, it rots, it gets smelly like a swamp. Same thing happens to our body. And, exercise burns body fat. Exercise pushes out toxins in the body. It builds lean muscle mass, which keeps the metabolism running high, even when you're sitting. So I often say to my clients, if you want to get to a point where you don't have to move as much, really build your muscle mass, get strong, really focus on building as much muscle mass as you can, then you'll just burn more calories at rest. So exercise, along with a healthy diet, is by far the best and most effective way to get a rockin' body for summer. So some of the fitness and health principles that I work with a lot with my clients is that it's really recommended that we do some sort of cardiovascular activity 5 to 6 times per week for at least 30 minutes per day. Now, think about this. There's 24 hours in the day. We have to have the time. Most people have the time to spend 30 minutes on themselves. Now that it's summertime here in Canada, we can go for a nice 30-minute walk outside. We can do something inside. A lot of people have some sort of exercise equipment at home. You could be doing your exercise while you're watching your favorite 30-minute TV show, and you'd be good to go. Resistance training 2 to 4 days per week, of course, depending on your goals. The resistance training is extremely important and often more important than cardio. Cardiovascular exercise is really important for heart and lung health, to obviously reduce your risk for cardiovascular disease. But resistance training keeps you strong, keeps you burning muscle mass. It keeps your bones strong. I know that I work with a lot of women and they're scared to lift weights. And I just, a lot of them are scared because they don't want to get big and bulky. And I can promise you this, for those ladies who are listening, that you're not going to get big and bulky by lifting some weights. You are going to get strong, you're going to get lean, and you're going to have more confidence in yourself when you have that nice shape to your body. And then flexibility and balance are something that we also need. Flexibility is something that we can do through just basic stretching techniques. Things like yoga help with flexibility as well. Balance things, we can practice standing on one leg. You're washing your dishes one night. You can just start by standing on one leg. You could do that it could be that simple for balance. But balance will also is something that will come with strength training as well. Now, listening to all this, you might be thinking, oh my goodness, there's just way too much here. How am I going to be able to do all this? Which is exactly why most people don't do anything. We get so overwhelmed that we end up just shutting down. And I know I've been there for sure, that I just think, oh, there's too much to do, so I'm just going to do nothing. But, and a lot of people say, well, one of the first objections for people on making these healthy lifestyle choices, but I don't have time. We have work obligations, we have family obligations, we want to have time to relax. But, I get it that it's really hard to juggle, but do you spend time watching TV, right? Do you spend a lot of time out with friends in the bar? And remember what I talked about before is, what are you saying yes to, right? So whatever you're saying yes to, whenever you're saying yes to doing something that's not focused on your health and wellness goals, it's forcing you to say no to your own health and wellness goals. So everything that you're giving high priority to now won't even be possible if you're sick. So it's really important to really make time and yourself a priority. Remember at the beginning of this webinar, I asked you, what did you do for yourself today? Was that you went out for 30 minutes for a nice walk? Did you, breathe the fresh air? Did you go to yoga? Did you spend time in the kitchen making a beautiful meal for yourself that you could enjoy with your family? So we always want to make sure that we're taking the time for ourselves. And, we really do always have time. This is a client of mine, Joanne, and she said, I have a demanding career, but found my energy and strength depleting. Rachel inspired me to make health a priority, and we made a schedule that works. Since working with Rachel, I feel more energetic and confident about accomplishing my health and wellness goals. And I really loved hearing that, because I remember when Joanne first came to me, she's a busy professional and really said, I don't have time for this. And then when we kind of went through her goals, we had her set her why, she realized, okay, maybe I do have time for this, because what we make a priority for, or what is a priority in our life, we always have time for. And the next objection is it's too expensive, right? There can be some cost to programs. It might be a gym membership. It might be getting a coach. It might be buying food, some sort of equipment, something like that. For sure. We all have commitments, houses, cars, vacations we want to go on, groceries, recreation time, fun time. Absolutely. But, again, what are we investing in? Are we investing in ourselves? Or are we saying yes to investing in ourselves, or are we saying no? And what I love about taking action in health and fitness is that it really doesn't have to cost much money. Actually, it doesn't have to cost anything. I say to people, most people have a pair of sneakers or a pair of runners, and, you could be working on your fitness in the middle of your living room. There's no equipment necessary. You could be doing push-ups, you could be doing squats, you could be doing jumping jacks, you could be doing, marching on the spot, going out for a walk. It really doesn't have to cost a lot of money. But if you do decide, it's really important to invest in yourself. And this is a client of mine as well, Annette. And she says, at first I was unsure about the investment. However, Rachel has helped build my strength and developed a nutrition plan that works for me. Every day she inspires and encourages me to love myself and go for the life I desire. This is the best investment I could have made. And I know that whenever I've done an investment in myself, whether it's health and fitness, whether it's business, I know that I'm making a really good investment, because really the money that we spend on ourselves is going to be a fraction of the cost of what's going to happen if we don't spend a little time and maybe money on ourselves. So what if I could tell you that if I could make it easy for you, would you want to know more? And most people's answer on this is, of course, yes. I mean, how can I make it easy? We're always looking for the magic pill. We're always looking for the easy way to do stuff, right? Well, I'm going to share with you something that I've developed that's going to make it extremely easy for you to get going on your health and fitness goals. And this is, on my online lifestyle program. So I'm so proud to present this online lifestyle program. It's set up to be a 4-week or 30-day program for anyone who wants to get started with a lifestyle program but doesn't have a lot of time commitment, maybe for the gym, maybe you don't want to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and you want to do something on your own terms. And that's exactly why I developed this. And I developed this for the busy person who doesn't have time to do all that, who doesn't have the resources and the money to spend for a coach. And the reason why I have also developed this is because I love learning like this. We're all busy professionals, or we're all busy doing whatever it is in our day that we often don't have time to commit to big programs and big long-term lifestyle programs. So the online lifestyle program gives you access to an online membership portal. And what this will do is this will allow you access to this program anytime you want, 24 hours a day. It includes a cleanse and detox program, so you can learn what foods are going to be best to give you more energy and to help you reduce your body fat right away. You're going to get a smoothie recipe ebook with a ton of smoothies in it. And what I love about smoothies is that they're a great grab and go meal, so that when you don't have time to prepare a meal, you can just whip up some really fun, delicious smoothie and you're good to go. You're going to get 12 recipe videos. So oftentimes people will look at a recipe book such as, I don't know, there's some recipe books out there that have 100 different ingredients in it. Well, all the recipes that I share with you, whether it's in the Magic of Living Nutrition book, if you've got that, or any of the recipes that I'll share with you in this program online, you've also got 12 recipe videos where I'm making the food with you. I'm showing you exactly how to make the food. So it takes out any question and any issues on how to prepare that food. It just really makes this such a no-brainer for you. And the recipes that I've shared with you, you're going to see that most of these recipes are going to take minutes to prepare. There is hardly anything on there there's nothing on there that takes longer than 20 minutes or 30 minutes to prepare. And some of these recipes only take about 10 minutes. So it's really easy to, for those of us who don't have a lot of time, to really make sure that you can get that in your day. And you'll also get some meditation audios. And the meditation audios that I focus on are, self-love audio meditations, relaxation meditations, because again, we're working on that mind, body, soul connection, and that we want to really step inside and see where are we at. So this whole online lifestyle program is really developed for you who doesn't have a lot of time and again doesn't want to invest in a huge lifestyle program. Now let me show you a short video clip of the program. So those are just some of the things that just a cute, fun little video that I love to show people in just to show off the program a little bit. So again, like I'd mentioned, what results will you get? You're definitely going to lose weight. You're going to feel great. You're going to have more energy, and you're just going to feel so empowered and have more confidence that you've actually taken charge. So I've shown this picture before, but for those of you who just don't recognize the backside of this individual, is the one on the left is me. And this was before I started training in really hardcore training. And, I'd taken a hiatus of really taking care of my body, felt horrible, didn't like the way I looked. And on the right, this is me about 2 months after really taking my training seriously. And that's when I was actually training for a competition. And what I loved about actually taking action, though, is that, I felt great. And it was really interesting and cool to watch my body change. So, I mean, yes, we're all going to have ups and downs. I've been there. I've done that. I've done it again. I've come back to where I was. And, and sometimes you just get back on the wagon again. And that's just the way it is, right? That's life. We just go with the flow and go with the ups and downs. But what you get out of actually taking action is just so valuable. What does the program cost? Well, again, this is a big concern for a lot of people. And, the value of this program is at $800 value. And online, I actually have it on for special right now for $297. But what's really fun about, I love, doing webinars is because that we can do something special on the webinars. And for those of you who have decided to join the webinar tonight, I'm going to give you the whole online program for only $97. And this $97 gives you complete access to the program forever. So you're going to get access to the online program, the 30-day online program with everything that I had mentioned before. And for the $97 is only on for a limited time, and we're going to keep it going for the next couple of weeks. But after that, it will be gone again. And for joining the call tonight, you're going to get a copy of the Delectable Desserts just a mini ebook that I do have for you. It's a collection of some of my favorite desserts. Some of them you may have seen in The Magic of Living Nutrition, and some of you may have not. So the Delectable Desserts is certainly one of my favorites. I love desserts. So that's a collection of raw desserts, mostly with no refined sugars, and of course all whole natural ingredients. You'll also get access to my Facebook page where you can ask me questions as you go along and receive a free live 30-minute coaching call with me to help discover what are your goals, what do you want, what is your why, and how we can help move you forward. So are you ready to say yes? So what will happen when you take action? You will look and feel amazing. You'll have a sense of accomplishment. You'll have higher self-esteem. You know, you'll just feel so empowered to take charge of your health. You'll be eating amazing food and moving your body and just getting to where you want to go. So if you're ready to say yes now, go to this link to get a little bit more information. If you are ready to register for the online program, again, it's only available for a short time. You can do a completely risk-free 7-day free trial. If you're unsure about taking action yet, no problem at all. I always want to make sure that people are feeling comfortable with the decisions that they're making. I know that I've made a lot of spur-of-the-moment decisions and then felt that buyer's remorse, and that's not what I'm about. I really want to make sure that people feel great about any sort of decision that they make moving forward, and that you are maybe, and also having access to check it out. So if you want to, if you're ready to say yes, go ahead and click the link above, take note of that link, or you can go to racheljoyolson.com/transform30 to check out your free 7-day free trial as well. So again, with the online lifestyle program, you have access to the online membership portal, which allows you to do, you know, basically do the program and the information, have access to it anytime you want. Cleanse and detox program, which will give you more energy, clean out the toxins from your body and help you release the excess weight. The smoothie recipe ebook allows you to have a ton of grab and go meals. There's also meal plannings on there as well. There's other recipes, not just smoothies. There's salads, there's meals, there's snacks, all sorts of amazing things that you're going to actually have access to. There's measurement trackers, there's a shopping guide, so much on there, just such great value that for $97 you just really cannot beat. And again, just remember, what are the results that you want? What is your why? Why would you even want to do something like this? So again, just for a limited time, $97, you can go right to that link. You'll get the bonus coaching call with me, the Delectable Desserts ebook, which will be sent to you upon with your purchase as well. And again, so if you're ready to say yes, you think that there's good value in this, go ahead and go to that link to get registered now, or racheljoyolson.com/transform30 for your free 7-day trial. So if you do want some more information, certainly go to that website. You can also connect with me through my website as well if you have more questions. But just remember, a year from now, you'll wish you had started today. So I want to thank every single one of you for joining me on this webinar tonight. I look forward to working with those of you who actually have already signed up for the program I see here. And I look forward to speaking with each and every single one of you, helping you live with your coaching on your free coaching call. And then, of course, helping you online. You'll have access to me online. And then just seeing your progress and seeing how you're doing with everything. So again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I look forward to seeing what happens when you take action, because change happens when we take action.